Hi friends and fellow intuitive academics, my name is Shelly and I draw from my intuition and my lived experience as a PhD to offer you guidance on your academic journey. And today I wanted to offer a very specific kind of reading for advanced doctoral students. I'm not sure if you're acquainted yet with this phrase, the Valley of Poop. Insert a more offensive word there. The part of your dissertation where it just feels like it's going on and on forever and you're just dragging your feet through the mud, trying to get through kind of like the middle, I would say, of the dissertation process. I think this could also apply to the thesis process. But I know for sure that I got introduced to this phrase when I was a PhD student. And there is such a thing in my experience. I did experience that, a time of period where it just felt like I was questioning everything. Why am I doing this? Am I really going to finish it? Is it worth it? Imposter syndrome happening, fears of future employment, all of these things kind of happening right around the, I would say, 3 years before I graduated, to 2 years before I graduated. Somewhere in like the writing process is where it really hit hard. There's just a lot of overwhelm and pressure at that time, but I think that period could hit you at any point. It could happen during your coursework or your exams, however your program is set up. So if you're seeing this and you're feeling like you might be hitting that point of the crossing through the valley of poop on your academic journey, then there's a message here for you. And I specifically wanted to focus on guidance for how you can best care for yourself during this temporary period, because it is intense and we all go through it, but it is temporary, and you're deserving of finding support and giving yourself support during that time. And so I wanted to kind of go into 3 different directions and see possibly if one, if not all, of these suggestions from our guides today will help you get through that valley and on the other side safely. So I'm going to just start by introducing the cards to you, and then we'll go ahead and branch off into the 3 separate readings. And so you can skip ahead by chapter for whatever cards you're feeling drawn to today. So this is the first card, the King of Pentacles. And let's see if that's focusing. So this card says shop, and it says thanks for supporting local witches on the door. And then the text below says true success isn't just about money, it's about happiness too. And our next card is the Page of Pentacles. So this card says, when life gives you lemons, make enchanted lemonade. And our last card is the King of Wands. And this card says, shine your inner candlelight bright enough for others to follow. So I'll give you a minute to kind of reflect and listen to your intuition on which of the 3 cards are drawing to you the most. And then I will see you in those respective readings. Hi, King of Pentacles group. So you were drawn to this King of Pentacles card with the shop, the character kind of looking off into the distance with a slight smile, and the script that says true success isn't just about money, it's about happiness too. So I want to first say I'm truly sorry that you're here in the Valley of Poop and that part of your degree process that feels a bit like drudgery, and it's not really the fun part, right? But it's still a part that we have to get through, and I think that we can do this by finding spots of joy and also moments of healing, but also deep self-care as you're going through this. It's not the easiest of times. The degree itself is very daunting and challenging. It's full of challenges. I feel like every year there's a new challenge, but this can feel like some of the hardest challenges because there's just something within you that's not rising, that's not feeling like you want to rise to meet them anymore. So let's find out what a message of self-care is for you specifically as you're going through this Valley of Poop in your own way. What are some things you can focus on specific to you, the way that you work, the way you care for yourself, your personality, that you can focus on for your own self-care during this temporary period of your degree? So we first start with the Two of Wands. Very strange, but I never noticed this about the card, but I was drawn to this little bracket here of the wand. And so the story behind the Two of Wands, it's that it comes after the Ace of Wands, of course, where you start off on a new kind of venture, new creative idea, new opportunity, and it's like you're taking the first step. You have the second wand, and it's almost like, it makes me think of like, which was the first wand? Is it this one is more established and this one has like a brace to help it grow? I'm not sure, but it makes me think a little bit of a band-aid. And I'll kind of leave it there and think about that as we continue drawing cards. And then you get the Four of Pentacles next. So this card is about being a little bit conservative with your resources, and I'm going to say it's being about conservative with your energy too. Like, you see the figure here is drawing in and balancing everything in that way. Like, that's the way they know how to balance things. Yeah, let's keep drawing and see what comes next. You next get the Strength card. This is so powerful, I think, for this message that we're looking for in this reading. Because you were attracted to the King of Pentacles, and I am including that in the message. So you are this kind of personality that has that kind of like lion strength, right? You are in command of the world that you're building. I would say, like, yeah, you've got yourself very much together. You're grounded and earth-like. You have like a sense of the practical and the steps needed to get from A to B in that practical kind of ground up sort of way. And you do have this resource within you already, this inner strength that you can, I would say, lean on at this time, but not to the point where you overwork it. I'm going to keep going with that message. So you next get, oh, you got the King of Pentacles twice. That's so amazing. So there's a heavy emphasis on this aspect of you and the journey that you're going through. You are so strong. You have a sense of what you need to do to find stillness and balance in this time of growth. So you're kind of like excited about the Valley of Poop in the sense that you understand it's a seasonal part of the harvest, that it's going to lead to something great. So you have a little more strength and patience for this than others might, I would say. And because this figure is looking off into the distance, it's like you see the outcome. This one too, look, you see the outcome that's ahead, and patience is really coming through as a word for me in this reading. Patience is kind of your biggest strength in this whole process. Yeah. I'm curious as to how you can work with patience to give yourself self-care. And as I'm drawing that, the Knight of Pentacles comes up, and that is a message of enjoying what you have around you. So that I feel like that directly answers the question that was coming up. How can you use your inner strength and patience, the characteristics you already possess, to care for yourself? And some of that means spending time in the world that you've already built up for yourself, your comfort zone, spending time with you know, animal companions, and I would say family as well. And this figure is in a garden that they grew. Spending time in your own garden, if you're a gardener, or any kind of natural setting is going to be really helpful for you. And I'm getting really the sense too of spending time in solitude to be able to kind of regroup your energy. Yeah, because we did name these Pentacles as energy. Is going to be important. And I'm also drawn to the orb that the figure is carrying here, and it's making me think of the Pentacles and that idea that it's energy. And it's almost like it looks like she's offering energy out, right? But I want to see this as like you're offering energy back to yourself. Like you're going to be as generous to yourself with your own energy as you would be to someone that you're trying to help. Yeah, I'll just get one more card. Oh, interesting. Devil reversed. So this often doesn't like denote like the devil literally, but more this idea of having attachments, addictions in an unhealthy way. But because it's reversed, it's like about releasing yourself from that. So you might have some kind of coping mechanism. You know, it could be like food or alcohol, something that you know is unhealthy for you in excess, that the card's saying here that it would be best to find a way to heal that coping mechanism as a way to care for yourself. Because think of it this way, you're using the coping mechanism to get through the Valley of Poop when because there's also the option to care for yourself instead of coping with the situation, right? So if you choose to care for yourself, that will help you kind of let go of the coping mechanism. And you will also have to decide consciously to let go of the coping mechanism. And it's like the King of Pentacles is looking here at the Devil reverse. It's like he got to this point of being in control of his own health and wellness by consciously and authoritatively saying goodbye to the coping mechanism that they were relying on. And that's very hard. That's why your only major arcana here is the Strength card, because it does take a lot of strength, not in the sense only of like willpower and determination, but more of like a gentle, compassionate strength, the strength to look at the uncomfortable parts of your psyche or of you that are motivating how you behave in the world. That's more the strength that we're talking about here. And that's really kind of what your spirit needs at this time, is for you to harness that strength to go within and address places that you're getting stressed, reacting with a coping mechanism, and starting there, to start instead looking for how you can be more compassionate and vulnerable with yourself, to heal some of those reactions, rather than throwing yourself into like self-medicating in whatever way you're doing. Yeah, so that's kind of the advice I'm seeing here. Let me see if there's something more. There's like a plurality of the grapes is really standing out to me. So it's possible that alcohol is your coping mechanism here. That could be the thing that less of would help you kind of care for yourself more. So I'm not an authority on kind of dealing with those addictions, but it's just, the message here is kind of like highlighting that that would be the place to start, and you can look at the resources around you already to figure out what's going to work best for you to let go of that. And it's not like anything shameful or anything like that. It's more the sense of like the best path for caring for yourself. And again, that message of choosing self-care and self-compassion over coping mechanism to deal with the situation. And that's going to get you to this point of being the King of Pentacles, however you interpret that. True success is about happiness too. So if you can find a way to be happy in this valley of poop time, like you can find a way to be happy at any point of your life. And that's the real value here. Let me pull a couple more cards to see if there's some positive, caring aspect that we can gain from that. So you're getting here the last quarter moon. And I'm going to pull out the book to read about that message. If I can find it. Oh, here it is. Okay, last quarter moon. It's safe to slow down. That's your main message from this card. It takes trust to relax into the process of growth, manifestation, and personal expansion. The last quarter moon opens the space for you to deepen trust in yourself and the cycle of life. This is a time of slowing down and turning inward. Just as the moon is not always full and bright, you too are allowed to wane and release into moments of stillness. Be sure to build open spaces into your schedule when possible and put self-care, wow, at the top of your priority list. Yeah, there's so much here that's already jumping out to me. So again, that idea that you do see this as a seasonal, as a season to the whole process. It's a part of the cycle of life, but also the cycle of the degree. And so this cycle calls for you to kind of draw inward and slow down and take care of yourself. Any resistance you feel towards slowing down is a helpful clue for your growth. Acknowledge and sit with it for a moment. Then take the vital step of reprogramming any beliefs you hold that make you feel you need to prove your worth through productivity or habits that push you to forget you are enough just as you are. So the addiction might be, for some people out there, like a workaholic addiction. So that you're stuck in this cycle of work that runs you down, burns you out, because you feel like it's going to earn you some kind of sense of worth. That's what I think also all of the grapes can be about. Like you're trying to amass all of these accolades or this these definitions of success to feel worthy within yourself. Yeah, so it rings very true that that's not serving you. It's going to feel worse in the valley of poop than at other times. And so this is the time to develop the self-care and finding your worth within rather than from external validation. Begin this process by simply pausing and finding a way to connect with nature. Yeah, like we said, while observing Mother Nature and her cycles, a new truth about the beauty of the last quarter moon and its importance will emerge and soothe you. If you want to write a journal prompt, in what area of my life do I most desire to slow down? So there also may be a significant time for you in the last quarter moon of every moon cycle, so you might want to look up when that is, like the next one to the time that you're watching this, and really use that as a reminder. You might, every last quarter moon, you might set in your calendar as a reminder to practice some kind of self-care, be in nature. Like, that's a form of self-care. Simple things like yeah, spending time with your animals, those are all forms of self-care. And then of course the ultimate goal there is self-love, I would say, as your ultimate form of self-care. Okay, one more card for us before I send you on your self-care journey. So you get the cat and lavender. So I don't know if you have a cat. The cat and lavender, independence, number 1. It's also making me think of the lion in the strength card. Let me read this too. I'm kind of interested how this might connect. Cats are cunning, clever, and independent, often loners. They represent self-reliance, while lavender scent brings soothing comfort. Its Victorian association with distrust reminds us to look inward, relying on our own instincts and inner resources. Yeah, so inner resources, again, being something that I pulled out. But of course, I forgot that lavender is a very soothing plant. So you might want to also incorporate some lavender tea or actual lavender around your house, or spray some lavender scent, lavender candles. I use those too, often very nice purple color as well. So purples could be very soothing to you as well as you're going through this period. Yeah, so that would be your message here in particular for how you can kind of design your own unique self-care plan as you go through the valley of poop. You have such strong inner resources. So you protect your energy, draw on that, go within, like time in solitude. That's going to be very good for you. Nothing to be ashamed about, you know, like don't need to like feel pressured to hang out with people. Your self-care is number 1 here, because this is a very difficult time, and it's just one of those times that you really will need, specifically you in this pile, to withdraw, go into nature, go with animals, spend time reflecting alone. Yeah, getting a good view of the mountains. There's just a lot of like quietness, I would say, and peace. You don't necessarily have to meditate, but it's a good time to do that if you do like to meditate. Reflection is coming through. Reflection and patience are the key words that are coming through. And then, yeah, get some lavender in your life. Get some lavender color, possibly, color purples, and anything that kind of speaks to your senses in that way. Smell, sight, color, sounds. That all of those working together will be very helpful for you. And then of course we talked about the coping mechanisms in your life, whether that's being a workaholic or drinking to excess, whatever it is. The advice here is to find ways to choose self-care instead of those coping mechanisms as they arise in different points of your time through the valley of poop. And with that, I'm going to just wish you so much light on that, and know that you're not alone. We've all been there. I definitely spent quite a bit of time there as well. Yeah, drawing tarot cards for myself actually was a kind of way of connecting to myself, so that might be something of interest to you, getting an affirmation deck, because you're getting the message to stay in solitude and take care of yourself when you feel like you need it. If this reading resonated with you, please hit the like button. I would love to see you back here again. So if you would like to subscribe, you can get notified on when I put out another reading. And if you have a question or would like to share what you're going through, please feel free to use the comments for that. And with that, hoping that you continue to work with love for yourself and for others around you as you continue on this magnificent journey. And just remember, you're going to pass through that valley of poop, and you're going to come out the other end. And I'll see you the next time when you do. Hi, Page of Pentacles group. So you were drawn to this card, Page of Pentacles. When life gives you lemons, make enchanted lemonade. So a very magical message coming through with this young spirit in the forest, living with this giant house, into your message for how you can best care for yourself in the valley of poop that you may be going through right now, approaching, or just kind of leaving at this point in your degree advancement. And so just wanted to offer my support as you're going through this. It's not the best of times. I know it can be one of the most challenging times for students as they're going through the degree process. Challenging in the sense of being kind of like emotionally, mentally, spiritually challenging to get through, to continue to have faith in yourself. Yeah, and as I'm saying that, sorry, I'm getting distracted because I'm noticing like the young spirit of her here and the path behind her. So something of that is probably going to come up in the reading. But actually it's making me think that maybe you are just starting at this valley of poop. So it's good you're here. The brunt of it is yet to come. But it's really important to find ways to uniquely care for yourself, like how you yourself, your mind, your body, your spirit needs to be cared for. There's no one right way to do this, but I hope that the message comes through for you. You find some significance in what we find in the cards today for how you specifically can go through this period with some self-care. And again, it's a transition period, or a temporary period. It's not lasting forever. It's something you go through, and you do eventually get to the end and have your degree in hand. But it is so important to not just bare your teeth and get through it, and or minimize your suffering, because there is real suffering happening there. I've been through it too. You're not alone. And so it's so important at that time to dive into caring for yourself. It should become a priority, is what I'm saying. So with that, let's get into the message of how you specifically can make self-care a priority. And we're starting with the Ace of Pentacles, and I always see this figure as kind of like letting that pentacle drop gently instead of catching it or like receiving it. It's like letting it drop. But so like the motion usually looks different to me when it's in reverse, but this time it almost looks like she's enjoying kind of the texture of the sphere and just kind of like taking her time. What, Mocha? What? Okay, so Mocha has made an appearance in your reading. She wants to help, so you might see a cat duck in or make some noises from time to time. It's just all part of the process, I would say. Okay, so let's draw our next card. We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. So this is making me think a lot about the idea of self-care and how that shows up particularly in your life. Watch out, Mocha. And I'm not sure yet what the message is here. And I'm just going to keep pulling until it becomes clear. So you have next the Eight of Swords, and this is about kind of like self-limiting beliefs and being blind to your own strengths, really. So let me keep going as Mocha helps us. Next, get the Fool card. And this is about starting a new cycle, a new journey, a new beginning. And I'm reading that in connection to the Ace of Pentacles in some way. Because the Ace is a new offer, like a new opportunity. And the Fool is like, it looks like that connects to the Fool and how you're setting off on a new opportunity. Okay, I'm going to pull another card as Mocha clears the way and gives us space. The next you get is the Seven of Wands. And Seven of Wands is all about like creating boundaries and kind of defending your position, what you've got, what you've earned rightfully already. And then the last card we're pulling is the Two of Wands. And this is all about seeing the opportunities or waiting for the right opportunity to come in, or the right partnership even. It's all about that initial wand, like the Ace of Wands, joining with the second wand. Okay, so let me take a look a bit more about how this translates into self-care for you. So you're the Page of Pentacles. As I said, the path was going to become significant. You are starting off on a new cycle, on a new path, a new journey. And there's a little bit of like leaping into the unknown that's happening here. A little bit of being blind to some things. And not of your own doing necessarily. It's more of more of like a self-doubt kind of blindness. So because maybe you're younger and you're so new to this cycle that you're lacking faith in your abilities, because you're thinking, oh, I'm not as far along as these other people, you know, like I'm not as deserving of this or that. But that's actually a limiting self-belief that you take to be truth, when actually you can easily undo that binding, undo the limitations around you. And these are more like limitations set by society in this case that I'm reading. However that translates for you. And so that's kind of holding you back. And so your self-care has a lot to do with releasing yourself from those beliefs set by society that have fueled your self-limiting beliefs of what you can or can't do, particularly around your age, possibly gender or race as well, language abilities, like any ways that you find this being true to you. There's some kind of scarring there that can be healed. And as I'm thinking about healing, I'm looking to the Knight of Cups for that. And it's in the reverse, as is the Ace of Pentacles. And it's kind of like, I don't know if maybe you keep putting that on the shelf, like the healing some kind of old wounds. But your self-care plan for this point in your degree process is actually to bring up those old lemons and make enchanted lemonade with it in whatever way you see that happening. It's kind of like, I'm going to read it as you can't put that on the shelf much anymore at this period, because there's something about this period of the Valley of Poop for you in particular that is going to resurface these old wounds. And yeah, that does sound scary. Like, I've been there, I know how it feels. And I also want to say that it might sound scarier than it actually is when you get to addressing them out of love for yourself. Not just out of like something to do, but out of caring and love for yourself. Like the idea that you deserve to give yourself the opportunity to bring back these wounds and heal them during this period. So it's almost like it's a beautiful opportunity for you to heal something that's been in you this whole journey, your whole life. And it's a way to heal it and release it, you know, as you're a student before you kind of move on in your life. I'm reading this as like you're kind of a little bit more timid, and there's permission here, there's encouragement here to be a little bit ferocious in holding your boundaries, defining your boundaries. I would say it's like, I don't know why it's coming through on this card, but it's like defining your boundaries and then defending them is really important for you. So there are books out there about setting healthy boundaries and like maintaining them. So I would encourage you to check those out and see if that helps you, if anything in there rings true in your life, because that's going to be really important to how you care for yourself during this period. Let me see if there's anything else here that I've missed. Yeah, this is the only major arcana that comes up. And the main message here is what I said, that there is a beautiful opportunity to start a new cycle in your life by healing and saying kind of goodbye to these old wounds, making something new of them, and setting off on this new journey with them. Oh, sorry, that scared me. That was my cat. Making something of how you've repackaged those lemons into like a beautiful meaning of who you are, what you do in this world, and bringing that into your next cycle as you pass through the valley of poop and as you graduate and go on into your career. Yeah, okay, I will say that is the main message coming through. So I also want to pull a couple of oracle cards for you to kind of think of alongside of this message. Let me see if there's something important or helpful that can additionally come in. Oh my gosh, I somehow knew this was going to happen, but the same card came up in the first pile. I don't know why I thought so strongly that this would come up again, and it did. Yeah, so you might also have a message for you in the first reading, which was the King of Pentacles. That would make sense because you have the Page of Pentacles here, and it's kind of like you're progressing into the King of Pentacles. That, you know, goes from Page to Knight, Queen, and King in, like, I guess if you continue the numerical sequence of the suits. But this was all about possibly connecting to your animals if you have like a cat or a pet, but also incorporating the plant lavender into your life in some way, because it is kind of like a calming, has a calming essence. I drink chamomile lavender tea at night. It's really yummy. Here's your second cat to confirm your message. Yeah, and maybe the color lavender, the color purple is something that you might want to like incorporate into your surroundings, kind of using your senses to care for yourself and create like a safe place for you as you're going through this period. Let me bring up another oracle card. So we have here summer, and there's like a lot of peace but a lot of joy in this card. I'm going to actually pull the meaning from the booklet to see what the author intends with this message. So the main message is, my gifts are welcomed and needed now. Warmth radiates around and within you during the height of the summer season. At the peak point of the Earth's own sacred cycle, there is an abundance of natural beauty to be witnessed all around you. Bountiful farm crops, longer days of sunlight, and time spent with loved ones. This is a time of massive expansion and connection. Just as the earth provides many offerings for your nurturing and nourishment, you are now being asked to share your own gifts. If you have been working on something but have played your cards close to your chest, the time has come for you to show your hand and let others in on the magic you are creating. This is interesting. This really reminds me of the Page of Pentacles, where you're creating something tangible to share with others, and it's enchanted, it's magic. And the sunflowers to me always represents like joy, so it's like you're sharing something that spreads joy. This could be what's great for your self-care is continuing to care for others, to share something you've created. It could be a physical thing, or it could be like thoughts or like content or art. Start sharing that with others, and it's like you'll feel the love come back to you as well. So that's a very interesting self-care plan that's coming through on this card. I think that's beautiful. Let me keep reading. if you're not quite sure what it is you are supposed to be sharing at this time, consider what you have to offer from your heart. Whatever first comes to mind, that is it. There's no need to make it complicated. Let your inner vibrant sunshine illuminate from your heart space. You'll find connection with others from this abundant space of generosity. And if you want to journal, you can write off the prompt, what does my heart want to share? Yeah, so in the first group, it was all about finding solitude and going within to find peace. But for you, there's a bit about opening yourself to others and connecting with communities in like a joyful way, and in sharing your gifts, your talents that make you unique. That is going to be very healing for you. Yeah, so I don't know if the wound in your life kind of prevented you, limited you from sharing maybe your voice or your thoughts before. And it's kind of like now's the time for the healing to happen. And by doing maybe something that scares you, sharing your gifts, that's going to help you a lot. Also to like gain independence. That's the Cat in Lavender card. From these self-limiting beliefs. Yeah, I feel strongly that phrase, standing in your power, that's coming in for me. Doesn't sound like a typical kind of self-care plan, right? But doing things that make you feel powerful and from the heart, like, you know, sharing, if you're a poet, sharing your poetry with in a like an open mic or at a community center, or teaching children how to write poetry, for example. I don't know why this character really looks like a poet to me. You know, if you haven't thought of doing that before, like consider doing that now, and that will like bring you a lot of love and joy, in the sense that how do I explain it? It's not, you are giving it to yourself, but you're giving it to others and they're giving it back to you, and it's this whole like beautiful web of care and joy and love that you really could be enmeshed in during this period. So yeah, it looks like there are some intense kind of energies to deal with, but you have a beautiful opportunity here to start changing that around and how that shows up in your life. And Mocha's back to close off your reading. So Mocha and I will just say, sending you so much light on this journey. If this resonated with you, please hit the like button and please subscribe. And I would love to see you back here for more guidance. If you have a question or you just want to kind of share what you're going through, feel free to do that in the comments section below. And with that, I'll wish you to share your gifts, work with love for yourself and for others around you always. And I'll see you in the next time. Hi, King of Wands group. So you were drawn to this image of a woman on the phone looking through a portal. Looking through a window or a door. I don't know why I called it a portal. With the text that says, shine your inner candlelight bright enough for others to follow. So there's a bit about like communication and connection and sharing light that's already coming through in your self-care plan as you go through the valley of poop. So let's ask for some more guidance for you on how you can care for yourself during this temporary period that is deeply uncomfortable, to put it lightly, but kind of like a very common part of going through the degree journey. And I also want to offer that you have my full support as you're going through this. It's not fun, it's not easy, but you're not alone. And I myself have gone through that during my degree process for quite a while, I would say. And I think I had heard about the Valley of Poop, before I had reached the point when I was still doing my coursework, and then it was like after my coursework, especially kind of when I was doing my research and writing, that I really hit that stage of self-doubt. My drive for the project went down. It was hard to like keep myself motivated. That just kind of happens, you know. I have yet to hear of somebody who just had the same level of motivation from beginning to end. I just don't think that's how it goes. So we're all with you there. So yeah, let's get some thoughts on specifically how you can best care for yourself as you're going through this valley of poop. So we're starting off with some kind of difficult cards. The Eight of Swords talks to me about self-limiting beliefs. And the Five of Wands reverse is already telling me that there's some kind of like contention that might be ending now, or you want to put an end to it. There's like, it could be something like even with friends where it's like somebody offended someone, they're not talking to that person, and you're kind of in the middle of all this, and it's kind of like, I feel kind of like you are a peacemaker in your social arrangements, and it's kind of like there's no peace that's going to come from this, and it's very frustrating for you. You also get the Page of Cups, which is like a beautiful surprise, possibly a message that pops up of like kindness and love, and it also might be you that's surprising people with popping up and just showing them generosity and kindness. You also have the High Priestess reverse, which tells me that you have like a deep sense of intuition, but because of whatever's happening in this valley of poop with you, it's kind of knocking you off balance with connecting with that intuition. And so your self-care will likely be about finding a reconnection point for how to connect with like your inner guidance, like your higher self, your intuition. You also have the Queen of Pentacles. I feel like you yourself are a nurturing kind of spirit, but you also have nurturing people in your life around you. You're very lucky with that, and so it could be a mother figure, but this card is making me feel like the message is encouraging you to connect with those strong nurturing energies in your life, both in your physical connections and also with like your intuition, your spirit guides, however you feel like you're connecting to your inner guidance. That's coming through too. Oh, nice. And then you have the Nine of Pentacles, which is another kind of like, I would say there can be like, yeah, nurturing kind of sense to this card, but it's also about really feeling and like basking in the that fullness of your life that you already have around you. So I think, yeah, this came up in the first group as well, the King of Pentacles group. So if you're drawn to that, you might want to go visit. And the Eight of Swords also came up in the second group, the Page of Pentacles. So you might be in a situation where all three of the messages are for you. You might not. It's kind of up to how you feel drawn or not to watching those messages. But I feel the same message coming here for you of like taking a spa day. Actually this is slightly different. For you, it's like about taking a spa day and relaxing in beautiful surroundings. In the other group, it was about getting into nature. That might be your thing too, but I really feel, I don't know why it feels so different. In this one, it's about it's making me think of like a Venetian garden or something like that, something luxurious. Like finding the time to do like a weekend getaway actually is in your cards, I would say. Excuse me. I want to come back to this kind of points of difficulty here, because there's like a lot of beautiful energy here to support you through this difficulty. Oh, right, and you have the shine your inner candlelight bright enough for others to follow. That really kind of connects with the High Priestess. It's really interesting. Each group had one major arcana, and I think they were all in the middle row, and same with you. So I'm going to also read it the same way, that like this is very strong because it's the only major arcana in your reading, that this would be the main thing to focus on, is reconnecting to your own inner light as a way of caring for yourself and shining that so that others can benefit from it, can be ignited by your light, and then the lights around you will become brighter, all lit up, and then that will in turn like light you up even further. Do you see what I'm saying? So like there's a bit about you're in some social networks, some social webs, and it's not about isolating or anything for you. It's about like showing great love for yourself at the same time as you show love to others. No self-sacrificing here, please. Like, feel that very strongly. Showing equal love to yourself as you do to others. Being generous in like lending an ear, listening, you know, being kind. I feel like you already do those things. But remember to do it for yourself too. And it's like a system that fuels itself, you know? It's like it will come back to you and back and forth. So you do have some like healthy relationships in your life, and it's like focus on those where they give back as much as you give in terms of like care, kindness, and understanding. Don't invest your energy on trying to like be a peacemaker for whatever situation this is. You know, turn to the people for now that are going to like nourish you in your spirit and in your emotions, because your whole goal for your self-care is going to be to turn this card right side up and to have this kind of sense of connection to the voice in your heart. Yeah, it's really kind of just like the drama in your life is throwing you off. Like, this is kind of complicated. How do I say this? You came into this situation kind of already as this King of Wands, you know, like shining like a beacon for others, a lighthouse. This is throwing you off a bit. It's disconnecting you from that ability, from that characteristic you have. And it's kind of like, here, you see she's holding the cup with the fish instead of the candle. It's like, start from the basics again. Just give small surprise like tokens of kindness, and that's going to be more meaningful in this situation than large flames. Yeah, it's all about like planting seeds slowly and smallly. Yeah. Okay, so your self-care plan is a little bit different sounding than the other two. Like, I feel very strongly like you're this adventurous spirit, and you kind of like to live fast-paced. And it's kind of like about the spark of life, you know, like do things that keep that spark of life, that feel that spark of life for you. Like if you want to go on the weekend trip, you know, do that. That's part of your self-care. You're not like a worse student because you chose to give yourself some adventure in life. You know, I think this is a little bit about like being spontaneous too, not just in like your what you do, but also in terms of like how you express yourself, maybe even to yourself. Sorry if this is sounding confusing, but I'm seeing a lot right now. I don't know how to translate it yet. I almost feel like I want to continue with the oracle cards to see if that will help me kind of pull this reading together. So you're getting the dragonfly and pansy with balance first. And then you're also getting crone. So I'm gonna just put this, I think this way will work. So for the dragonfly and pansy, with the meaning balance, it says, perching with a delicate grace, the dragonfly is a symbol of balance. Nimble and attuned as a dancer, it moves effortlessly through the air, shifting direction with ease. Pansies are named for the French word penser, meaning thought, and were given by the Victorians as tokens of thoughtfulness. Together, the dragonfly and pansy indicate a harmony of thought and action. Oh, that does kind of like sound like what I was saying before with this card about giving little tokens of kindness. This is like saying giving little tokens of thoughtfulness can be very meaningful to your self-care plan, but also I think being, you know, seeing the amount of tokens of thoughtfulness that's being given to you as well, because you do have a lot of that in your life. And so kind of like feeling the full glow of that, like really just kind of like sitting in a garden of like your thank you notes or something like that, can also be very healing to help you remember who you are as you're going through this difficult period. Yeah, because you are a very strong person in the sense of these like feminine energies, because you have the High Priestess, which in normal times is you in the upright, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Crone, which is a bit like the High Priestess actually, in that sequence of the Maiden, the Mother, and the Crone, like this idea of the cycles of life and feminine wisdom and experience. This is who you are, and just, I guess your self-care plan can be like filling your surroundings with tokens of reminders of who you are and what you stand for, like physical reminders. It could be like little gifts, like a child made you, or if your teacher, like a student, made you a gift and thanked you for their lesson, you know, those kind of things. Having those on hand, or like pulling them up once in a while to remember them, will help you kind of like remember you too, and kind of fortify you on this difficult journey. Let me also read the Crone description to you, see if that lands anywhere for you. So the main message here is I accept myself. Yeah, and that's kind of like I was saying, accepting, but also like reminding yourself of who you are. The ancient wisdom of the Crone is grown from a lifetime of learning, of living and observing, of devotion to the cycles of birth, life, death, and decomposition. It is a wisdom steeped in a commitment to self-transformation. The Crone's medicine lies in the acceptance of all that is, a bone-deep acknowledgement of the seasons, phases, and fluctuations that define the experience of being human. recognizing not only the pleasure but also the pain of what makes the existence ripe with wonder. She reminds you that welcoming the full spectrum of being human is the surest road to a liberated life. So accepting the full spectrum of being human is the surest road to a liberated life. So taking all that is, together, not judging one is better than the other, it's just all part of life. And that's precisely what she has to offer, liberation. This is an invitation to embrace your human magic, the dark, the light, the present moment, and all that's beyond your mortal senses. Relinquish the need to understand and then release the notion of what has been or should be to find ease with what just is. And if you want to journal, the prompt is, what aspects of myself are seeking acceptance? And I would follow that up with, like, how can you give yourself acceptance? It could be like very corny ways where you write down the ways that you're seeking acceptance, and then you just tell yourself, like, I accept this of you. Or, like, if you're feeling like you're not a good enough student, and then you just tell yourself that, like, you have your own way of being a student, but you're still a great student, and I accept that about you. As if you're telling it to a friend, you tell it to yourself. Yeah, so I get the sense here that, like, you're always on call with your friends. Like, they turn to you for comfort and advice, and you can definitely use that ability for yourself. Yeah, and with connection to your higher self, the way you are with your friends and supporting them and listening to them, you can have that relationship strengthened with your higher self as well as your support. And yeah, lean on the nurturing people in your life as well, whoever those might be. Fill yourself with that good energy. Yeah. And balance, how is that coming in? Balance. I would say one of the messages was balance between, giving your supportive energies to your friends and people around you and your family, but also balance that with giving support to yourself. I would also say the balance would be talking about the High Priestess and balancing your connection to what's going on in the physical world to, like, your intuition and what's going on within you, or however you connect energetically to your guidance. A balance between those things. Kind of like, yeah, don't get too caught up in what's going on in the physical world. It's not the only aspect of you that's going on right now. It's not the only thing that's happening in your life, and just remember all the good things that are still happening around you. So yeah, there wasn't too much in the way of, like, a definite self-care plan, more of like guidance and general advice. However you manifest that into a plan for yourself, that's up to you. The one thing I did see was, like, take a trip, like, splurge on yourself. If you're not sure if you should, like, I think the cards are encouraging you to, like, take a nice trip every once in a while and make, pamper yourself, because you mean a lot to people. And also, like, yeah, you could do something literal with the tokens of thoughtfulness that people give you, in terms of, like, keeping a collection of it, and, like, just look someplace where you can look at it every so often. Remember, like, who you are, what you mean to people. That would help a long ways with your self-acceptance, which I think is kind of key here. Your self-care is also about accepting yourself and loving that as well. So I'm going to close off that reading with a send-off for you of light, and I hope that this reading resonated with you. If it did, please hit the like button. If you would like to leave a comment or a question, please feel free to do so about your journey, or if you need any clarification on the message here, I'd be happy to help. Please also subscribe. I'd love to see you back here, and I can help you with some other obstacles you're facing on your academic journey. And with that, sending you off with light, and hoping that you continue to work with love and thoughtfulness for everyone around you, and mostly for yourself. And I'll see you the next time.